Hello, my name is Bob Scholz. I am honored to accept this year's Robert T. Hughes Memorial Award. Bob is truly deserving of the memorial that ACGIH has created in his name. Bob generously shared friendship, knowledge, and wisdom with a wide range of people, including myself. Bob considered as kindred spirits people who gave of themselves to create safe and healthy workplaces. I'm now going to tell you two stories. The first story took place in 1971. I was at a foundry addressing worker exposures to air contaminants created by metal casting operations. Personal exposure sampling had revealed elevated levels of worker exposure. My task was to identify the causes of the elevated exposures and to evaluate control measures to address those causes. At the time, I had already received some training in industrial hygiene engineering, but had not yet applied this knowledge in industry. I visited the foundry and reviewed the situation, spending time in each foundry area with elevated exposures. While I was in one of these work areas, an elderly worker approached me and said, "Pretty bad, huh?" I was very careful with my response, saying what my responsibility was and that my findings and recommendations would be communicated to management. The worker then asked, "Can it be fixed?" At that point, I wish he would stop asking questions. I hesitated, wondering how to respond, but before I could do so, he said to me, "It's not for me that I'm asking, but for my son. My work here over the years has left me with health problems. What concerns me is that last Saturday, my son applied for a job here." Ooh, you could have hit me over the head with a 2x4. This was truly an inaugural moment for me. It made me deeply aware that because the work I do impacts both workers and their loved ones, it deserves the best thought process I can give it. I've never forgotten that moment and have approached my job with the level of respect the workers deserve. As a lead into my second story, I want to emphasize the importance of using the fundamental principles contained in the ACGIH publication, Industrial Ventilation, a manual of recommended practice when designing or upgrading industrial ventilation systems. You are probably aware that during his career, Bob Hughes contributed to the publishing and updating of that important resource. My second story involves a situation where a foundry faced the need to lower worker exposures of air contaminants. I discussed this situation with Bob Hughes. Bob said that some research on push-pull ventilation that he had done could be useful in this situation, but the idea would need to be demonstrated using a prototype system in the foundry. I then discussed this possibility with the foundry. I suggested that my firm and NIOSH get involved together in that demonstration. Based on the bench scale research of a push-pull ventilation method at NIOSH, we sought and received approval from the foundry to construct a prototype of the method and demonstrate its performance during normal production in the foundry. The foundry agreed that both Bob and I could both participate on site in the demonstration of the prototype. To me, it was an accomplishment to have government and industry cooperating in this manner. This concludes my acceptance speech. I want you to know that I am grateful to ACGIH for giving me this honor. Thank you.